I want to first take an opportunity to acknowledge the significance of May 21st. 100 years ago today, this body voted in favor of the 19th Amendment. But like most pieces of legislation, it doesn't start at the moment that it passed. In 1878, it was a Republican senator from California, Aaron Sargent, who introduced those 29 words that later became the 19th Amendment. Then when Congressman James Mann, Republican, also introduced that passed 100 years ago today. We read the preamble for a more perfect union as we strive. It's something that we should work with in this body day in and day out to continue of what we've worked so far and important to do. The yellow rose symbolizes those who supported the right for women to vote. You'll see much of them across the body on both sides of the aisle today. One thing I'd like to shift on some of the news of other things that are happening here this week. First, you watched last week 2 milestones. One of the prerequisites that the Democrats asked for before ever voting on USMCA is that another country change their own labor laws. A high hill to climb. But Mexico's Senate has now passed a reform within their labor laws. And then last Friday, we watched the tariffs on steel for Canada and Mexico get lifted. Now is the window to make America stronger and make our economy stronger. A lot of estimates out there, some say 200,000 jobs. Growth in our GDP. And as this moment in time, when we're having our debate with China, would it not be stronger in this position to have North America united? It's a time to put politics aside and actually put America first. So it'd be a perfect opportunity. Having known what the Democrats requested prior to a vote, it has achieved. So now is a moment for Speaker Pelosi to actually call up the USMCA so we can vote on it and make America that much stronger. I want to thank our Republican leader in the Budget Committee. This is a committee that, when Republicans were in the majority, that we passed budgets. I know Speaker Pelosi is known for saying, show me your budget, show me your values. But this new Democrat majority in the Budget Committee could not pass a budget and could not pass one on the floor. Now they're going to take a markup, the second committee outside of rules. They call the bill Medicare for All. When you understand the bill, it's Medicare for none. For those who are on Medicare, it'll make it go bankrupt. For those more than 150 million Americans, they're going to lose their health care. What's interesting is this is not a new pattern for the Democrats. We just watched last week on the floor where the Congressional Budget Office actually said in the passage of when they put a poison pill into legislation that would have lowered prescription drugs, gave people more options, that came out of the committee on a bipartisan unanimous vote. It's going to take 1.5 million Americans their plan away from them, their preferred plan. So if they wanted to keep their doctor, they could not keep her. This is what the Democrats continue to move forward on. Last but not least, we look at the price tag. The greatest threat to this nation is our debt. And the Democrats' hope is another $32 trillion for a plan if you took all the resources of America could not pay for. I've said many times, this new majority, I have not found one problem they found a solution to. They're more interested in a subpoena than a solution. I know they're having troubles in their own conferences. We read about it, the struggles, the fights within their leadership. I think if they focused on what America was looking for, what America was asking for, and they move forward, their fights may go away. Let's open it up for questions. Yes.
You'll be sitting down with congressional leaders today in the White House to talk about a budget deal. What is your position on a 2-year CAPS deal, and would you be open to increasing spending for non-defense programs?
What I want to look for is how can we get to a 2-year agreement that we can move forward. Sequester puts a lot of damage into our military. We've watched that. By doing nothing, that's where we end up. That's how we ended up in in the first place by not getting an action taken, trying to find common ground. So we're sitting down with all the leaders and the White House. At the end of the day, I'd like to find a solution to this problem. I'd also want to keep in consideration that I'm firmly believing the debt is our greatest threat. Yes, sir.
Same topic, how about on infrastructure? Is there a realistic chance something will come out of Congress? Where do you think the common ground might be to how to pay for it?
You know, I would really like to be able to do some agreement when it comes to infrastructure. I would really like to do bipartisan legislations. That's why, if you just watch what's going to come onto the floor this week and what came on the floor last week. In committee, Energy and Commerce, one of the most difficult challenges we have, how can we lower prescription drugs? We came up with 3 bills that gave the public more options, more choices, and lowered the price, and it came out of committee 100% Republican and 100% Democrat. But before it got to the floor, the leadership put a poison pill in. So it could not become law. They did not want to solve the problem. Now we watch in the Secure Act that deals with pension. The ability for parents to have a 529 account to save money for their children's further education, or if they have a disabled child. It came out of committee with all the Republicans and all the Democrats voting for it. But again, it goes to leadership. The unions did not like the idea that a parent could save money for the books for their children in homeschooling. So politics again won out, and they put a poison pill in the bill. So when you talk about something bigger like an infrastructure bill, I would hope that's a place we can go. But if the pattern of the behavior of this new majority is to put poison pills in and go back on the word of an agreement inside of a committee that you just worked on, so some leadership or staff gets to pick and choose without the body of the whole after they've already taken action, I find that to be very difficult. Yes.
Could I get a little bit more?
Representative Scalise, do you support the recently passed Alabama bill which prohibits abortion even in cases of rape and incest?
You know, I come from a state that typically had been rated for many years as the most pro-life state in the nation, Louisiana, and I'm very proud of that. When I served in the state legislature, we had a bill to protect people and say that abortion should be illegal in our state, and we had an exception for life of the mother. And I voted for that bill when I was in the state legislature. I'm strongly pro-life, and I do believe we ought to try to protect life at every stage, and that's why protecting the life of the mother is an exception I've always supported. So that's the law that we have on our books in Louisiana. Obviously, these laws in the states are fought out not only in the state legislatures, but in the courts as well. And so we're going to continue to see many different attempts to protect life. I'm fighting here in Congress to put a federal law in place that protects the life of a baby that's born outside the womb alive. Right now in many states, they're pushing extreme laws on the left to say if a baby's born alive, you can still kill the baby and call it abortion. That is not abortion, that is murder, and that baby should be protected in every state. Unfortunately, right now in many states, it's not protected, and in fact, you're seeing Democrats try to usher in laws that allow you to kill a baby that's born outside the womb. That's radical.
Even if it concedes a rape and incest as well? Do you?
Like I said, in Louisiana, when we had the bill, when I was in the state legislature, I voted for the bill that banned abortion, except in the case of protecting life of the mother. That was the only exception, yes.
Back to the Secure Act, have Republicans decided how they're going to vote on it, even if it doesn't include the 529 provision?
Congressman Paul Mitchell, who many of you know has spent his career in education. He also has a son, Declan, that he works with on his own education for Declan. And he gave a very compelling conversation in Rules Committee about an amendment to correct that, and the Democrats denied him that. I think there's still opportunities to improve this bill. We'd like this bill to stay the same way that it came out of committee. That's the reason why it's not on suspension. A bill that comes out with 100% of everybody in committee, Republican and Democrat, and has to have a rule, that's unusual. But that just means the majority leadership is unusual, that they change. It goes to questioning of their own leadership, respect for their own chairs. Think about it. Energy and Commerce and Ways and Means. both chairmen of those committees passed a bill that doesn't happen very often, 100% on both sides, and leadership chose to change what came out of that committee. Another point that I'd finally make is one that the whip brought up about anti-BDS, S1. That came out of the Senate with 77 votes. Not only did Schumer vote for it, he co-sponsored it, but this new Democrat majority over here, and I don't refer to them as Democrats because they don't refer to themselves anymore. This isn't the same Democratic Party that was in the majority. This is a new socialist Democratic Party. They changed their beliefs in a lot of situations, and one seems to be when it comes to an anti-BDS movement. There are enough Democrats currently sitting in Congress who have voted for a bill that we're looking for on a discharge petition with some of the same actions for anti-BDS. 77 senators voted for it. They won't even schedule it for a committee. So if they really believe in the language of what they use, this is the window of opportunity that they can sign a discharge petition. Yes?
The number of Democrats calling for impeachment is kind of amplified even in the past 24 hours since Justin Amash's comments. Are there going to be any repercussions for him? Do you think he should remain in the Republican Party given his positions? He seems to be working with everyone.
Justin is one person with one opinion. It's out of step with this conference, and it's out of step with America. If you watch, even for those who are on the other side of the aisle as they campaign for their nomination for president, they go to different states, it doesn't come up. What comes up are the concerns, the infrastructure, the price of prescription drugs, the debt. Those are the issues that America is concerned about, but this new Socialist Democratic Party seems to have their own direction of where they believe to go. Yes?
So there won't be any repercussions for him within the party?
You know, people get elected by going back and talking to their constituents of how they vote on the floor, a reflection of within their own district. I think when it comes to actions, I think the constituents will have the final say. Thank you so much.